All right, let's get going. Today, God, I feel like I say this a lot, and I hate that it's ends up always being like that. But at least I can say it for certain that I'd say it's gonna be a little bit short. Blah 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 blah. We can talk. Today, well, I can't say for certain, but today might be a shorter stream. We will have to see. I also don't even exactly have a don't have a plan for today either. Where did we leave off at? We were working on the state machine on, what was it, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, because I didn't stream Wednesday because I had that doctor's appointment. That's right. Oh my lord, there's a lot of changes in here. Not really. These things probably have to do with the actual, yeah, because I was having weirdness with the collisions. That's fine. Okay. So we're in this weird point right now where the state machine, we got the state machine going for the most part. The only issue is part of it cannot be done. Part of it cannot be done right now. I gotta do annoyingly, I gotta do some other stuff. When's November 1st? That's on Friday. Okay. Checking something out. But yeah, I got, because the problem is the other state machine isn't really going to function until, which actually we can do this because we don't actually need it to have it fire, but we can make all the, we can put like a bang in there to have it say it's shooting. So we'll work on that, the state for the guy, or for this guy. Which do mean in the enemy, I need to have him now make, instead of making attack zombie, it's just going to be an attack. In the attack state, we'll put over here for now. Come on. Dock in there. There we go. Man, I'm thirsty. I was stuck in a long meeting at work. That was chatting a lot. Okay, so attack doesn't have 3. That's fine. So what's going to happen here is actually we'll have the attack state. We're going to have the retreat. It's basically, and that's going to be like the bubble that causes him to move the opposite direction. Which means in order for that to work, we're basically going to have to get the direction. If I know the math of this correctly, I'm going to have to get the direction from the player, or from the enemy to the thing that's in range of it, and then take that direction and make it negative. And that, because if I remember right, I believe making it negative should make it do that, not make it do that. I think we'll find out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So its chase state is actually going to be a its chase state is going to be a retreat range, because it's not going to chase after you. It's gonna back away. And then the attack state, also we'll take it in a detection component. Man, I cannot get comfortable today. Okay, so in this case, you'll take it in the attack. Neat. So what we're gonna need is a actually we're gonna need all these variables again. Yeah, this is regular attack, so it's gonna take that. So bring this guy over here so I can kind of use it as a Jesus, come on, quit lagging. I really need to get on getting a new computer. This thing is getting so bad. There. The detection component's gonna be equal detection component. And then we're gonna connect it to the connect the triggers. What's weird, so we're gonna have to, or no, that's fine actually, because we're gonna focus on the one that like gets in range first. So like, yeah. So we'll worry about the on enter in a minute. Let's get everything else written. So on exit, well, okay, we'll see. I'm not sure why I'm not clearing the thing, but it's fine. In frame update. So if we have a target, what am I doing? I say debug dot log. Bang, bang. It doesn't care if it's gonna. Oh yeah, because it doesn't, when it's shooting, it doesn't do the check if it has a thing. That's the bullet's job. Okay, so then in physics update, not really gonna do anything. We're gonna do a lot of work in here, but it's probably just going to be a direct copy paste from this. Hey Ethan, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I think you're new. It's hard to keep track. That should just drop in there, and then yeah, all this stuff is just going to be a direct copy paste because it's all doing the same thing. And then in which case, get closest target should also we'll be able to just be drag and dropped in here. Which means at some point I'm probably going to want to pull those out into their own methods, but that's something we can cross eventually later too. So what brings you here? Are you a game developer yourself, or just kind of checking out the category? Okay, so then now on enter, then I can do get closest target. Okay, that's cool. Do you do any form of software at all, or is it just purely just checking it out? It always fascinates me when people that aren't like developers or game developers or anything like that stumble around in this category, because I'm always like, man, I'm like I always appreciate new people here, but I'm always like, you gonna understand anything? But people can do what they want to do. You're a student. Okay. Well, I've done game dev on and off for probably since I was in like high school, like late high school, which was for me, God, back like 10 years ago. But the problem is like I never really saw something or anything through to the end. You know, it's hard to do. One, it's hard to do this stuff alone, and two, it's hard to do it when you're like focused on school and stuff too. Because then even in college I tried to do stuff here and there. But I am a software engineer for my professionally too, and do mostly back end work. But then yeah, when I graduated, I spent a lot of time like focusing on my job and getting going and stuff like that. And then I finally have reached a point in my career where I feel where I've learned so much, and I've kind of gone back into game dev, and I'm now working on a game that this is intending to be my first game I released commercially. It's definitely not my first game I've like released, but I think it's the longest I've spent working on a game too, because I think I've been working on it for about coming up on a year at this point, and we're actually in the middle of migrating it from Godot that I did a lot of the prototyping in. Because Godot is a really quick, easy, lightweight engine to really prototype stuff in, and then when I got like the idea like sound and was working, I started porting it over into Unity. But I think I've said this like the last couple streams because I keep having new people pop in, and I was about to cover that. Unfortunately, where we're at right now is the game itself in Unity isn't playable yet, because I kind of have just been grabbing random things as I've chosen to port over. And I left oh come on, I left the Godot build in kind of a kind of in a not great state, so there's not really a lot I can show off in here. Let me see what I've got in here that I can kind of show off, but I'll check this, see what I've got in here, and then I'll kind of give you the spiel on what the game is. Because if I remember right, oh nope, don't want to go up there. This is where I want to be. Is this not even working? Oh no, it's something. Oh, you know what? I might have accidentally moved my sprites instead of copied them over. So I might have broken it even more. Yeah, I literally can't find the sprites. Okay, that's annoying. So yeah, so basically what I did when I moved the sprites over to Unity is apparently I like straight up moved the files over and didn't do a copy. But so the idea behind the game is I'm a huge Tarkov player. Love Tarkov. Played it a ton. And then found another, and I found this game while I was developing this other game called what's it called now? Zero Sievert. It's another similar game, but it's in like the 2D realm. But basically, this is a single player. This music is too loud. Basically, it's a 2D single player extraction like looter shooter. But I've kind of have thrown in the whole zombie element into it because zombies are cool, and I feel like every single game I make has zombies in it. But it's the same premise. You'll go into areas, different areas in the game that'll have NPCs and zombies and stuff running around that you can go, you know, loot whatever, wherever. There'll be certain quests that you can do to progress kind of like the story of the game that I loosely call a story. And then come back out, you know, back into the hot base area. And that point is where you can do a lot of your crafting, you're buying, you're selling, you're getting your quests. I have the full, not in this build yet, but I did in the other build have a full weapon modding system that I'm getting ready to port over here probably in the next week, where you can actually swap out all of the different components in the weapons and stuff. And my favorite part of my favorite couple of features I've done to the game so far is one, the reputation system. So when you're out in the world, there can be all sorts of different other sub factions running around of like different survivor groups, and there's like a couple military groups. And depending on your reputation with them is either if they'll be like willing to like trade with you versus if they kind of just let you be versus like attacking you on sight. But then all of those separate factions all have reputation with each other too. So you can have instances where you go up to say like a small military base if you find one of those, and you could walk into a fight where there's a completely separate, a different group of NPC like survivors and stuff that are actively fighting that military camp. And one of the early playtests I did of the game, I had someone basically realize that they could kind of just go around the map, collect a ton of zombies, and have them like follow them. They would drag the zombies over to like a military camp that was really hard to break into. The military that would then, you know, they would shoot at the zombies because everyone's kind of has negative rep with the zombies and stuff. So what he would do is then dip out, let the zombies and the military duke it out and stuff, and then go in and clean up afterwards, which was not something that I really thought about a thing that could happen, but I left it as a thing because it's a cool concept. But the idea of it was I wanted to make the world feel very much more alive instead of just you go to an area and kill everybody and grab their stuff. Like, and that's kind of been like my elevator pitch for a while. I haven't really expanded out a lot of like the specifics of like the story and stuff yet, because about when I got to that point is when I started doing the port over to Unity. So I've kind of been focused on getting everything moved over and then going back into like new development mode. I think I've been in port mode probably about a month and a half at this point. And we're about done with the port. There's only a few more things I got to do. We just got this. We're working on finishing up a couple bits of the state machine, at least the parts that I can do right now. I got to get the weapon crafting system. I got to get migrated over because that's kind of one of the bigger, more complex systems in the game. And then a lot of it's just like menus, and then kind of just building out my base like levels again, because I kind of just have, you know, I just have some sprites thrown out on the screen right now, nothing crazy. So I got to build the levels. But then at that point, once I get it back to that point, it'll probably be another couple months of building out like content for the game. And I'm looking to have an alpha test out probably towards the end of Q1 next year. I was originally going to be like ambitious, but then realized, because I originally was going to try to shoot for the end of the year and then realized holidays are a thing and there's no way that was going to even remotely have a chance of happening. Because it's, what is it? Thanksgiving in November, Christmas in December. I'm a very, very fun fact about me personally. I'm a very avid, like competitive Warhammer player. So like January, I'm going to be in Vegas for a massive Warhammer tournament. So it's like, there's 3 months right there that are just shot of. So we're trying to be conservative and say probably like end of Q1's probably a reasonable goal to have an alpha test. Oh, do you like, are you into lore? Do you play the game? Are you more 40k, AOS, fantasy? To say, I think I actually literally just okay, yeah, see, I'm a competitive player in the game and I actually literally just picked up these 2 boxes yesterday for my list that I need for that tournament in Vegas. But I do play both. I'm more in the AOS side than the 40k side, but I do play 40k and I'm trying to, I think once I get past LVO, which is like kind of like the Super Bowl of Warhammer tournaments and stuff like that, I'm going to kind of shift my focus more towards 40k on the competitive side. But that's a whole other bridge I got to cross, and I got so many other things I got to focus on before I worry about that, because LVO, like I said, LVO is a huge tournament. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so this is the attack state. It's expensive. I definitely do not ever like, I question why I play this game sometimes, because oh my god, it get expensive, and the lore itself, like you can get so immersed into Warhammer in general just from the lore. I mean, Jesus, these 10 model, the 2 boxes each have 5 models in them. I think it was like I think it's like $125 now for those 2 boxes. It's getting ridiculous. All right, so I do need to make now a yeah, it's every time we have new people come into the shop wanting to, like, looking into getting into the game, we're always like, the first thing we do is we look at them and go, okay, it's a very expensive game. The average, like 2,000 points is the average size for an army on both 40k and AOS. And to get a 2,000 point army, you're looking at a range of like $600 to like $800 just on the models, and that's not counting the rest of the supplies that you need to play the game. Like you need all the tools to build the kits, you need the paints, you need, you know, and then to play the game you need the dice, you need the rule books, you need this, you need that. It's not something that it's not something you dabble in. But I've been playing for 10 years at this point. Okay, so we're gonna need a generic retreat. Yeah, and it's even worse when you're a psycho like me and play competitively, because it's like I'm constantly having to buy new things to like keep up with the meta. And then heaven forbid I really go off the rails and go like, I want to start a new army, because I've got 5 armies for AOS, and I have 4 armies for 40k. And all of them at the minimum are 2,000 point armies. And hey, thanks for the follow.
Just followed.
Yeah, and every single one of those armies is enough to play a 2,000 point game. And a couple of those armies, like my Seraphon, I'm probably pushing like 10,000 points. But my Seraphon were my first army, and I've had for like 10 years. So it's not surprising I have as much of them as I do. Okay, so how do I want? Do I want to make an entire? I haven't quite figured out how I want to do this. How did I do it in Godot? I need to pull up my references now. Yeah, I'm in really deep, but like I said, I've been playing for like a decade, so it's not all that bad. At least the nice thing though is at least like because I got into it when I was in high school, and and then in college where I had a job but I didn't have bills, so I had all the disposable money, and fortunately I have a job that could continue to pay for the hobby, because I would have been a little sad if I wouldn't have been able to suddenly become an adult and have adult expenses and then suddenly not be able to afford to play the game I love. But realistically though, you also it's not, you don't have to be like a whale like me that spends all that money on it. Like realistically, like when you buy a 2,000 point army, you can just play that, and the game doesn't change all that much all that often to where you'd have to like heavily change your list all the time. Like you could go out and buy like a 2,000 point army and just play that list and those models, and that's it for years. All right, so how did I do this in here? So okay, so most of the time, so people kind of, and me myself included, this is how I got on Godot in the first place. It was that whole controversy that happened way back like a year or so ago with Unity making changes to like the monetization or something. I don't remember the exact details to everything. And basically around that time I was working on a project in Unreal, and I wasn't like super excited about the game. It was more of, it was something I was working on to make me feel better about, like, to be able to go, I'm working on a game, but I really wasn't working on it. It kind of was just something to like pacify that like voice in the back of my head. And then but that's when around that time I got excited about this project, and when I came up with this idea and wanted to work on that. And Unreal was just way too heavy of an engine for this. Like it was just overkill. So I was originally in process of going back to Unity, because I originally was a Unity developer. When I got into game dev originally, I started with Unity and I switched to Unreal. So when I was making this switch from Unreal back to Unity specifically for this project is when that whole stuff went down. And I kind of jumped on the bandwagon of, oh yeah, screw Unity, I'm gonna go do Godot, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. And honestly, Godot just doesn't do it for me. It's a cool engine. There's plenty of stuff I do like about it, but there's a lot of just technical things about the engine that I didn't like. There was things that like I wanted to do a certain way that I couldn't do. There's a few like ideas that they have on how you should go about development that I didn't necessarily agree with, but stuff's all kind of moot point. It's a tool. Use the tool the way you want it. But one of the bigger driving factors is like I was not a fan of GD script. And it was just more and more there were things that I wanted to do that GD script either couldn't do or wouldn't let you do the way that you wanted to do it. And my issue is C#, the support for C# in Godot isn't great. Like people will back it. It's not great. It feels clunky, because now this is coming from someone who I do C# professionally. That's what I do at work is .NET, and the support just for C# wasn't there for me. And the fact, granted, for this game it didn't matter because this game's not going to be a web game. This is going to be a release like on Steam and everything. But stuff that I do on the side to as breaks from this, the fact that like when I do like small games and stuff, the fact that C# wasn't supported for web builds, it basically made C# unusable. So between, you know, just having a whole lot of technical reasons why I wasn't a fan of Godot, and then also running into a few bugs with Godot, I ultimately made the decision to just switch back to Unity. Yeah, it's also nicer to work in Unity because since it is C# and I just know the language better. Now, the funny thing is the timing on my switch to Unity was impeccable timing, because literally it was like a Wednesday or Thursday. I was like, I had made the decision that I was like, yep, I'm gonna switch to Unity. This is what I'm gonna do. I had started doing work in Unity, trying to reacclimate my stuff with the engine and stuff like that. And it was that following Monday that I was going to announce on stream that I was switching to Unity and everything. It was going to be the whole thing. So I spent like a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, like digging deep, relearning Unity, digging around in there, seeing how viable a port would be. And then that drama with Godot happened like that Saturday, and I was like, oh no, I was like, people are gonna think I'm leaving Unity because of all of that stuff that happened. I'm like, dude, I just don't I was like, I just didn't want to use Godot anymore, and it was impeccable time. And I had a lot of friends that in the game dev community that were kind of teasing me about it, but they all like were like, yeah, no, we're like, they were like, we're all just teasing you, because they all knew the issues I had been pretty vocal in the community about, so like our small community that I had, about Godot and some of the issues I was having with it. But yeah, it really just came down to Godot just wasn't doing anything. Godot is a great engine, don't get me wrong. I love what they're doing. They're just still young, and there's still a lot of work that they need to go. Yeah, it was I don't even really remember the details either, because I just don't care. But yeah, it was like, if I remember right, some guy made a dumb tweet, and then like the community manager of Godot's like Twitter made a joke about it, and then people were like, it was like an innocent joke, but it still like somewhat had politics behind it, which then, you know, naturally it's the internet, politics causes stuff to implode. And yeah, it was that whole thing that happens like literally days after I decided to make the switch. Yeah, it was mostly just technical reasons for me, but like I said, Godot's a great engine. Anybody who's getting started in game dev, I would point them to Godot in a heartbeat. It's such an easy engine to get going in. And honestly, I also do small, like, I do like small mini games all the time. I've been trying to get it into my Twitch streaming again, where I used to do this like mini game Monday, where I'd work on like small little, really focused games, kind of as like an educational thing where I could, you know, teach people game dev. I could show like the process from start to finish and why I do things the way that I do and stuff. And for stuff like that, I would 100% still do Godot, because it's so quick and easy to get stuff going in Godot, versus Unity takes a minute to really get everything in place before you really start seeing stuff. Yeah, like I said, Godot, fantastic. I cannot talk. Fantastic engine. It's just not where I need it to be for what I'm trying to do. And honestly, I think if Godot were to try and aspire to become a Titan like Unity and Unreal are, I honestly think that's what's going to be the downfall of Godot. I think Godot has found its space on being this small, lightweight engine. And I feel like they need to focus, as long as they focus on being true to what they are, they're going to be a fantastic engine. But I'm concerned that the community is trying to push it to become this bigger thing. And I think that's ultimately I think that's what's going to be a bad thing for it. Um, where does my movement here happen? If is instance valid target. Okay, so that's doing the weapon, the spread's making the sprite, and it's firing, blah, blah, blah. If no target, find closest target. If parent dot velocity equals move direction. What's move direction? Oh, that's how I'm doing it over here. Okay, that's gonna be a pain. Or not a pain. I know how I want to do this. I don't know if it's gonna work the way that I wrote something else though. Because what's happening is my I mean, it might be fine. The AI in my game isn't super complex. I might be able to get away with this, even though I don't want to do it this way. Because the problem is, so in Wander, I just gotta make sure they're not trying to clash with each other here. It might be fine. Because generally... There's probably gonna get a bug in here if I do it this. All right, let's just do it. We'll see what happens. So I'm gonna create a new state. This will be retreat. Okay, door not open for me. That's cool too. Retreat is gonna come from state. We are going to generate the constructor, and then we are also going to overrides. Give me the overrides, please. There we go. And get rid of that. Retreat is also going to need a detection component on top of the base stuff. It's gonna be another one where half this stuff is copy pasted too. I need to come up with a more elegant way to do this, but it doesn't matter for the time being. Oh, ew, why are you guys up here? I don't want you up here. and then get closest target. Yeah, this is definitely going to need refactored, but we can... I'm not worrying about that right now. I need to get... I need to get stuff working before I'm worried about optimization. Okay. Java and C# are very, very similar, yeah. Honestly, most programming languages are. Once you kind of most of programming is, and I see this a ton with especially like newbies that are first starting out and stuff like that. They get so focused on like, I want to learn this language, or I gotta learn this language, and then they're like, oh, but what about it and stuff. It's all of the, like, once you know one language, you know them all. They'll all have slightly different syntax and stuff, but it's the concepts are all exactly the same. I mean, like geez, this right here, like GD script, I mean, yeah, the syntax was like a little bit different, but other than that, like once I learned the syntax, I think I was up and going like pretty much full speed and in GD script probably like a month into it, where I was like confidently like going through it and not really having to look stuff up all that much. Okay, so the retreat is actually gonna go to the attack state. This attack and retreat state are gonna be so freaking similar. I could wrap them up into one state, but no, we'll just, I'm overthinking it. We just need to get it working first. Okay, so in the retreat state, I need to get the direction. Oh, we got my caps lock on. Unity. I forget the math to do this. All right, let's pull this over here. Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, actually, I can probably do that. Let's check the idle. The idle's gonna have what I'm looking for. Yeah, there we go. So what we need to do here is get the direction between the enemy and its target. It's gonna be equal to target transform dot position minus that. We'll normalize it. And we're gonna make that negative because I need to go the other direction. And then we'll tell it to move the direction times its movement speed. That's still called a random, some random name because I was following a tutorial. What is it? Oh, duh, I forgot the character dots, and I think it's like random movement. Yeah. I should wrap this in. Come on. We'll wrap this in a null check just to be safe. And that might work right off the bat. Does the enemy... Okay, so that's considered chase state. So... let me make sure I'm doing this in the right order, because I am doing... I keep switching this around just for testing. What all is referencing that chase state? I didn't want to pop that out. The enemy, the dummy, the attack zombie. Which is fine because we're not using the attack zombie. We're doing the regular attack. Let's just see what happens. I need to shrink these areas so much. These are way too big. Oh. Make that smaller, and then the fight distance will make smaller. And this fight distance is actually going to be the retreat distance then. Aggro area is going to be attack. Fight distance is going to be retreat. Let's see what happens. If this works, then we're pretty much done. Okay, so he's shooting at me. Alerted, not alerted. Alerted, not alerted. Okay, so something's still a little wacky. Enemy. Okay, so alerted, not alerted is the... Huh? It's not right. The aggro area's attack, the fight distance is going to be retreat. And it's firing the attack correctly. It shoots at me. Alert. Oh, not alert. That's doing the same thing. Okay, hold on. Attack. Bang, 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 bang. Get that. I leave the attack area, it goes to alert. That makes sense. Retreat. This should go back to the attack state. There, move it. Set the alert position. I don't need to set the alert position. State machine change state character dot attack state. That should send it back. Why are you not? Okay, so we're in idle. It's attacking me. It's alerted, so he's gonna move to that area. And then go back to wandering around. Alright, let's... Wait, was the scene not saved? Is that seriously it? No, that's not it. Okay, we need to see when are we actually entering the state then? Done retreat. Okay, I spelled that way wrong. And then I'm gonna stop with the stop with that because we know that's working. I don't want to clog up my log. Idle state. Okay, so that the wander is still not. See what we're doing wrong? we weren't creating the right state on the that's why it wasn't working. Okay, so he's not entering the wander state. No, let's not even mess with any of these other states. The idle, if I trigger the retreat state, I just don't understand why it's not triggering it. Kill that guy. Okay, so we have the retreat, which is the fight distance, and we're gonna attach that there. Save that off. Now, when the detection component is on trigger enter, we're gonna on trigger enter. Turns here, it's gonna check if it's all those things. Cool. Target equals 0. It's gonna add the target. Well, yeah, like that. And then if the oh, that's why it's not doing it. That's why it's not doing it. The retreat has to. That's what I get for just copying code, to be completely honest. So what we can actually do probably then is in the enemy, we can bring all this stuff back and it's gonna work. That right there is probably gonna work just fine. So let's put the aggro area back up. Assign the aggro area there. Let's run it. No, that's not. That's cool because it is kind of is wandering the wrong way. The attack state. What's he doing when he? All right, this should be in a workable state now. Like, so when I get into range, he should like stop and start shooting at me. We'll have to make him more intelligent. So he stops, and when I get in range, he moves away. And then when I leave, he's gonna go out to where I was. And then when he gets there, he's just gonna start wandering around. Yep. Okay, cool. That works to the extent that it needs to work for the time being. So we can mark that as complete. Complete for now. Oh, that lost focus apparently. Commit that, push that up on the or on a PR real quick. Merge it in, and let's get that gun shooting. different. This is going to be, this is also a feature branch. 5 weapon component. Actually, we'll call this gunplay for now, because that's yeah, gunplay. That's more related what it is. The weapon component already exists. Publish that branch. Cool. So what we need to do now is what's going to end up being a bit complicated, but we will worry about that later. So reload that. We do have a bullet script already. Neat. Close all of these. Okay. I'm not particularly worried about the specific stats yet. We just want to get this guy moving. For testing, variables, we're gonna have a public sprite. Now, do we have a prefab? That's where prefab's the big one. I do have a bullet prefab. Cool. Okay, so we're just gonna use one of these guys for the time being. Actually, I don't even need to add that value to the script. What am I doing? I can just assign the thing, because it's not gonna be a sprite eventually. It's just gonna be a little trail that when it fires. I tell you what, Ethan, if you are still in chat, not sure if you are or not. I will spend this weekend, because I've told a couple of the people I was going to do this to, and I keep forgetting to do it. I will spend the weekend getting my Godot build in a functioning state, and then that way next week I actually can have something that I can show, like, kind of how the gameplay is working for all the people that are new coming in. As for, did I do the art myself or have someone else do it? The art is all done by me. And a lot of it I would very, very loosely consider it art. I've been kind of learning pixel art in the process, so the quality of the sprites right now are kind of all over the place. Some things are, at least I think, actually pretty good, and then there's other things that like aren't great. If I pull up like the Godot build, for example, some of the stuff in here I'm not a fan of. I've also got problems with consistency of pixel size because I didn't realize that was a rule when I started. But then there's other things like some of these guns. I actually really think I think they came out really well. I never got around to actually have, like, this is a gun, but it's missing all of the component, so like a lot of these guns don't actually show what they're supposed to show. And like I said, unfortunately, I accidentally ripped out the sprites for a lot of this stuff. And, you know, actually, while I'm in here, I'm going to do one thing for you, because I love this feature, and I I put a ton of work into it, and it was probably like the coolest thing I built so far. If I go into this guy, Let's open up that scene. Its scene is not what I wanted to open up. We'll take a quick detour for this. The array is a bunch of garbage because these are all just the generic items. I'm gonna do. Let's do a couple in here. Let's grab this, put it right there. Let's grab the stock, this will probably take a couple tries to get everything that I need. Magazine. There's the handgun. There's the grip, or the handguard, I mean. There's the grip, and there's the barrel. So let's get rid of these guys. Okay, so when I run this, because this also can kind of show off my the gun sprites, because I was kind of happy with how they came out. So you'll see right here, I've got like a JK-47. In the little drop down, you'll see that it's missing certain components, so like I can't equip it. I also apparently need to find 7.62x39 ammo, which I believe this guy should be selling. Yeah, so let's buy that. I had the sorting. I was in the middle of these when I last touched in here, but the sorting is super cool. I wonder if I got anything in the stash. Oh yeah, the stash has got some stuff in here. Actually, here, I apparently broke this. Don't know when, but apparently that broke. Okay, either way, that's besides the point. So, grab these guys. I'll save, exit out, pop back in here, grab that. Save again. Looks like I just need a magazine. Come on. Come on, RNG. Give me a magazine. There we go. Let's grab all this stuff. So, when you go up into here now, I can select the gun. And if I click barrels, give me a list of all the barrels I have. I can attach it. Magazine. Attach the magazine. Handguard. Grab that. Grip. Throw that bad boy on. Stock. Throw that one on. And then now you'll see when I highlight over it, there's nothing red. So now I can click it and I can equip it. And then got the right ammo. So then now you can see I have the gun equipped. Apparently it's not reloaded. I can fire it. That, like, getting this crafting system working was such a pain. I forgot I have to have it unequipped in order to use the bench. It was such a pain to get this working, and the biggest thing was getting all the sprites to line up correctly. But like now what I can do is in here I can take the stock off, because or swap the stock if I wanted to. There's two different ones with different colors, but I can take the stock off and then I can still equip it because the stock is not like a required component of it. But now like the gun will be less accurate. And then I wonder if I can load. I feel like this was broken. Like, I mean, geez, you can see down below, there's like 30 errors. Yeah, it looks like something broke something somewhere into loading into the next scene. One of the final straws that I dealt with, no, it's not going to be multiplayer. I got two answers for you. The marketing answer that I give to people is that there's a space in the market for people who like games like this but don't want the PvP aspect of it. They want it to be more casual and be able to play and not have to deal with multiplayer, and plus there's and all that stuff. The real answer is I just don't want to do multiplayer. It's a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of work to get multiplayer working. Especially the amount of stuff that's going on in here. It just, I just don't want to do it. So I have my marketing answer and then I have my real answer. I do have plans in the future to do another version of this game. Like, I feel like I've already kind of written up like if this game is successful, I kind of want to do, I like the idea of like 3D pixel, like voxel games, but like specifically basically 3D pixel games. And if, oh God, what's this dude's name? He does stuff like this all the time. I gotta find it. But I have joked about, like, if this game is successful, that I want to do something like, oh geez, ads, where Cody Can't Eat This. He does these game dev videos where he recreates like old Nintendo games but in 3D. And I've joked about doing this with my game in the future if it's like actually successful, because like this is cool. This is the kind of game I want to make, is like this kind of art style. But we'll see. I also don't know if I necessarily just want to remake my game again. I might make like an open world RPG game kind of like this, but we'll see. But that's like kind of future plans. But we may do multiplayer in the future. It depends really. Because generally with multiplayer, you kind of have to like build the game from the get-go, assuming to handle multiplayer, because putting multiplayer into a game after it's been built is a lot harder. And my game wasn't built from the beginning to have multiplayer. And then like this time right here where I was porting it to Unity would have been a time that I could have done it, but I was so focused on getting it ported and not really wanting to worry about other stuff getting in the way. But yeah, so I guess I'm not gonna completely write it off, but it's one of those things where this one's probably not likely, especially given this this isn't my first game. It also wouldn't be my first multiplayer game. I've done multiplayer games, but this is my first game that I've releasing with the intent of it being a commercial release, which has all of its other stuff that I'm learning on top of it. Plus, I've just never made a game to this kind of scope before. This is by far the largest game I've ever made. So that already alone had its complexities that adding multiplayer to it just would have been a whole level of a lot to do for one person. Okay, so that's what I was doing. So we have the bullet already made. It doesn't do anything, but we have it made. And then what was I saying earlier? Oh, right. I'm gonna see if I can clean up my project, or the Godot project, this weekend, so I can have like something playable to show people kind of what the game looks. Because there's cool stuff that happens in the other level outside of the hideout that I just can't load into right now because something's broken. And I haven't touched the Godot build in like a month at this point, that I don't even know what's broken. But I'll see what I can do, because I definitely have told a couple other people that have been that were new to the chat while I've been porting, and I've been like, I wish I could show you, but I can't. The real thing is if I could just get this done like here soon, and then I can just show it off here. Okay, so I've got the bullet. Does the weapon... Oh, I need the weapon component. Do you know what the bullet is? You do know what the bullet is. Hi, Jackson. Let's see if I can get you... Yep. Say hi to Cat, who doesn't want to be here. He just wants fed. Got 3 cats. That little guy that you just saw is our tuxedo cat. His name is Jackson. And then we have a Tordy, and his name is Hendrix. And then we have a Calico, and her name is Zeppelin. Yes, they are all named after classic rock. Well, Zeppelin's named after Led Zeppelin. Hendrix is named after Jimi Hendrix. And then Jackson over here is named after Michael Jackson. So there's a funny story. I am a dog person. I'm very much a dog person. Granted, dogs, cats, either are cool. Like, I'm never gonna say no to a cat. I love cats too. I've grown up with both. I've grown up always having both. But I very much am preferential to dogs. My wife is very much preferential to cats. She like doesn't really like dogs, period. She just likes cats, and she's only ever had cats growing up. So, like I said, I like dogs. She likes cats. So we compromised, and we have 3 cats. Figure that one out. But nah, I love them to death. And like I said, it's not that I don't like cats. Cats, dogs, everything's cool. Because I will admit that cats are definitely way easier to take care of than dogs. Except for when they think that it's dinner time and are pestering me. Yeah, this guy, most of the time you'll hear, but you won't see, because he doesn't like being held. Hendrix is the one that most often appears on stream because he actually likes being held, and I can pick him up and show him off and stuff. Zeppelin, you probably like rarely makes an appearance on stream, and if she does, it's usually because she's sitting in the window. Okay, so what we need here when we fire is to create a bullet. The player. We need you to actually fire your weapon. All right. Wait, do not fire? There's no argument that corresponds to the target. Fire vector 2. I'm assuming fire needs a vector to the target. Okay. That is fine because oh, duh, it's right here. Local dot mouse position. So what's gonna happen then is, so I'm gonna fire the weapon. The weapon's gonna go over here. Fire. It's gonna come down here. Yada yada yada. It's gonna create a bullet. Create bullet does nothing. So it's gonna do bullet equals bullet factory. I don't need a bullet factory. Because it's actually gonna be it is underscore bullet. Okay. Underscore bullet dot this is where my Unity knowledge is. This is where my Unity knowledge fails me sometimes. I can't remember. Did it instantiate? I thought it was instantiate. Unity creator. Instantiate prefab. This told me nothing. There we go. Show me some code, like Christ. Oh, an introduction to instantiating prefabs. Oh, it's instantiate itself as a method. Gotcha. Instantiate bullet. There we go. Doing it backwards. And then, have a reference to your owner. You, oh wait, no, but you have a position yourself. This is going to be transform dot position. Okay, vector 3 2. I thought this is how you, and then Alternian dot identity. There we go. That was the problem. Okay, so this should, let's just get the thing to appear on screen. Let's make you like 5 so we can make sure we can see the thing. Oh, and weapon or weapon equals null. That's the problem. Let's get rid of all the things that are the reason why I can't fire and try again. Option 1 to instantiate is null. Does that mean it's not means I don't have it set. I thought I had a bullet prefab. You have a bullet prefab. I do got a bullet prefab. There. What the hell? Double check, 'cause I feel like Unity sometimes wants to not. Okay. There we go. I can pew pew, kinda. Now, there. Okay, so now I gotta calculate the direction. To vector 2 dot target. Okay, so vector 3 direction equals the target minus that, except these are vector 2s. You're a vector 2. He comes back at, okay, so why am I sending it in a vector 3? At what point does it turn it into a vector 2? Just making it a vector 2. I'm surprised that it's okay with that. But okay. And then, so what we're gonna do is bullets. That's not what I wanted. bullet done initialize. Come on. Help me out here. I can't spell initialize. Initialize, what are you taking in? The parent item in, or so it needs to know the parent so it doesn't hit itself. It needs, which I have no idea how I'm passing that in because it's no, okay, let's not even bother with these guys yet. For starters, or well, okay, so we need a direction, so we're gonna direction, and then it's going to direction equals direction. I don't know why you're an int. You should be a vector 3. And then in update, if direction not equal null, because there's going to be like a frame that it's null. It needs this guy's gonna need a rigid body. Okay. So rigid body is gonna get component rigid body. That's fine. We got to go back to the engine to make sure we sign that. And then it's, if direction's not equal null, it's gonna be rigid body dot velocity, linear velocity. They changed it on me. Equals direction times speed. So we'll let that compile. We'll go back over to that bullet prefab where you are going to need, none of this stuff should be exposed. None of this stuff I'm ever going to be able to do, modify anyway, except dynamically. So we're going to do that. There's, oh, right. Never pass the direction in. Now we're good. Man, I gotta say, the one thing that's rough about doing indie game dev, but then is the fact that I spend all day, you know, doing my job. So how my days go is I wake up at about 4 in the morning. I wake up about 4 in the morning with my wife. She goes and works out and stuff. I come to my desk and I work from about, I work on my game from probably about 4 to like 6 in the morning. And then at about 6 is when I turn around to my desk, go to like do my actual job. And I work from like 6 to 2. And the reason why I get up so early is the fact that I live out in California. But a lot of my team is based on the East Coast. So if I get up at like, if I start working at like 6, that's 9 o'clock for them. So I'm more lined up with everyone. And it's cool because I get off at 2. But then, so I'm done work at 2, where then about 3 days a week, I'm here immediately streaming, you know, at 2 o'clock to about 5 my time. So it's like by the time I get to like the end of the stream, I've spent so much of my day coding that I'm tired. And then streaming on top of it is so hard that I'm just like, oh God, how do I do the most basic things when I'm... So it's funny. I feel like when I'm on stream, I'm like I'm way dumber on stream than I am in person. But it's cool. Also, it's like I tend to do like a lot of like the heavy stuff I tend to not do on stream because one, it's harder to do on stream because I need to focus on it, and it's not as entertaining to watch. There's no rigid body attached to, but there is. There's a rigid body. It's right here. Which reminds me, I gotta get rid of gravity. Stupid autofill. There's no rigid body. There's a rigid body 2D attached. That's why. Now it'll work. So it's like dumb little things like that. Like, granted, I probably even completely like focus and competent, and I make those kinds of mistakes. Holy Christ, those are moving fast. Slow that down a smidge. I think this number was pulled from Godot. Speed is assigned, but the value is never used. Yeah, it is. It's literally used right here. Right here. It's probably because of the null check. Slow that down a bit because that was ridiculous how fast that was moving. There we go. It'll need to be sped up, but it's manageable. That's not normalized though. Not even remotely. All right. If that fixes the not being normalized. Yeah, that seems... Oh. That's not... God damn it. Oh. Fast. Slow. Fast. What? Okay. I think it's because I'm normalizing it again. Is because I swear I did normalize it. Is that what's... Or am I screwing up the math somewhere? I'm probably screwing up the math somewhere. Nope, I'm screwing up the math somewhere. when I click, I'm getting the mouse position. Fine. See, actually, honestly, I don't need to do it that way because what's gonna happen, honestly, is because I'm doing this not right. So there's gonna be a spawn point at the end of the gun, and that rotates with the gun. So when I spawn the bullet and make its position and rotation equal to that point, all I gotta do is give it a vector 2 forward, and that's just gonna be what it does. So what I need to do then is so we can get out of this. For simplicity's sake, we're just gonna set the sprites in here. So I can just have a visual of what I need. So this is the handguard. The muzzle, there's none of those. The barrel. Magazine. And actually, what are we doing? There's a better spot for me to do this. Especially because we need to do it in there anyway. Okay, so let's actually open up the weapon components. And in here, we'll assign these. Oh, except these aren't going to draw correctly. Oh, I got to do it the hard way. Okay, hold on. This... let's just do this correctly. Let's not try to force a thing in here. Because I'm gonna have to do... oh god, that's rough. Yeah, I do gotta draw it in here because it's not gonna matter regardless. So that in there, put the handguard in there. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, is these aren't gonna, like... doesn't have to be perfect though. Honestly, that's really all we need. So then we're gonna create an empty bullet spawn, and this guy is gonna come out about there, and we're gonna slide it forward a bit. Okay, so now when I play this, okay. So in the weapon component script then is going to need the bullet spawn location, which I believe we don't have apparently. Private vector 3. No. It's just to be a game object. Game object, bullet spawn location. I already have a bullet. I do. It's up there. Okay, cool. So when I fire it and I create the bullet, the location is actually going to be the bullet spawn location. And then bullet spawn location dot transform dot rotation, perhaps. Except I probably want the I think I want more of like a global get local and now let's just leave it as is. I don't remember what one we need offhand, so let's start with that. Now the weapon component itself. Grab that. Set this bullet spawn location. Go here. Let's save this off. It should move where that bullet's spawning now. Oh, that's like way out there. Okay, so we still got the not rotating the object correctly yet, but we'll cross that bridge in a second. So now the bullet, instead of this, is just going to be vector 3 dot forward, or yeah, vector 3 dot forward times speed. Don't even need the direction anymore. See if that fixes the inconsistency on the speed. That did nothing. See, that's not going to fix it either. Because now it's only going to fly in that direction. And it's only spawning in that one spot. What's rotating in the weapon component? That's the real question. Aim. Weapon sprite dot transform dot rotation. Okay, so the bullet spawn actually needs to be the weapon sprite. That's what's rotating, so it's got to be a child of that thing. Because now, if I rotate this bad boy, bullet spawn is now up there. Okay, so now we're almost there. The sprites are not quite correct, but that's probably because the thing's pointing upwards. Am I not supposed to normalize? Yeah, this is the weird math that no one likes. Target. What happens if I don't normalize it here? I send in direction. So then the bullet is now going to go. I feel like this doesn't fix it either. And if this doesn't fix it either, I got to Google the math. Math is hard. Nobody likes math. I say it as I'm actually pretty good at math. Calc 3, baby. I just don't remember how to do a lot any of it. You know, because I'm totally using... You're bad at math and you're getting into computer science? Got some bad news for you. Okay, so now it's going ridiculously fast. Normalizing it here is not going to fix it because this is essentially undoing what I just did. I can't remember. Did you say you were going to school for computer science, or you said you were going to school for something? Oh, you just said you were a student. I guess I don't know if that necessarily means you're in software or if you're doing something else and are just interested in programming. Cybersecurity. Okay, that's you don't have to worry about math quite as much over cybersec. I have dabbled in the idea of getting into cybersec. I never thought it'd be something I'd be interested in, but then part of my curriculum was I had to take like a security class, and I actually like really enjoyed it. And there's been periods where I've considered like pivoting from software and going into cybersec. But it's a lot of work and I got to put effort into learning all that stuff. And I just don't have the time to do that. And I guess I do have the time to do that. I spend my time doing this is the problem. That worked. No, that didn't work. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, so let's unnormalize this. See, I feel like the normalization is not the issue though still, because I bet if I slow this down to where I can see it, it's still gonna be the same thing. Wait, what am I doing? At this point, I do want vector 2 dot right. Yeah, what am I doing? I fixed it to where it didn't matter because I'm setting the This is what I mean, man. Okay, nope, that's not right because they all move that direction. So I do have to do. It looks like though, no matter. Yeah, I mean, no matter where I click, it does that. Okay. How do I do this? Because I don't remember the math. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so there's another way I can do this. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I've got the camera not main screen to world point. Don't remember what this guy's doing, but either way, so I'm getting that position. L dot mouse position dot Z is just going to equal 0, so we'll zero that out because it doesn't matter. So then I'm setting the mouse position. Okay. So the weapon or the bullet then is I'm doing new vector 2 direction X direction Y, but then these gotta be both multiplied by speed. That do it. If that doesn't do it, I might call it here because I technically got to get going anyway. I do have a little bit of time that if this does do it, I can keep going, but okay, so I didn't do it because it's still based off of. Okay. Yeah. On that note, yeah, as a new viewer, I guess I'll catch you up to speed. My wife's got her work is like weird right now because she does apparel for like hunting companies. So hunting season's coming up, you know, so she's like kind of has to like pitch in places elsewhere of her normal job practices, aka she gets to do customer support for their sales. Throws off her schedule, everything, which throws off my schedule. So like today she's gonna be home early and we're gonna go do stuff, and then there's a couple days next week where my stream's gonna have to end early because her schedule ends early and brings her home in the beginning of the day. But other than that, normal schedule is Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays from 2 to about 4:30 to 5ish, depends on what's going on. I got the links to all the social medias down below that I may or may not actually update. I occasionally do, occasionally don't, but if you want to check them out, they're there. And I will be back again on Monday. Not Monday. I'll be back again on Tuesday. And hopefully I've got this sorted out, and then I hopefully also will have the Godot build of the game like not broken, so I actually have something to show off to people while I'm doing the migration. But yeah, with that, have a good night, have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye.